Hey guys, and welcome to the So Squared YouTube channel. So today I'm going to blow your mind. Now, we're going to be talking about virtual influencers. And to some of you, you may be familiar, but to the vast majority of you, this is going to be completely new territory. Welcome back, guys. And if you're new to the channel, my name's Sam. I'm the founder of So Squared. We're a two-sided marketplace that connects brands directly with influencers to help them complete more successful campaigns. So if you like the content that we produce on this channel, make sure you give it a like and hit subscribe to stay updated. So influencer marketing is worth around about $13.8 billion as of last year. And this kind of trend of marketing where we get user-generated content has grown tremendously. However, human influencers do have their drawbacks. So, like all people, they're subject to human error, controversy, and burnout. So what would you say if I told you that there is a new hot trend of virtual influencers where the narrative is completely controlled by AI and marketeers? So here we have it, virtual influencers, and yes, whatever you are thinking is probably correct. Typically, these are animated or CGI characters that are used instead of human influencers. So with the rise in popularity of the past couple of years of NFTs, Web3, and blockchain technology, this has also contributed to the rise of acceptance of virtual influencers. So let's get under the skin, figuratively speaking, of virtual influencers. So earlier I said that, virtual influencers are going to be pretty new to all of you, but actually they aren't. So let's take Barbie as an example. Millions of people worldwide watch Barbie on their screens or in physical toys and were somewhat influenced by her. She starred in thousands of campaigns globally. And now, if you check out Barbie's Instagram, she's a lot more like how you typically imagine an influencer to be. She has over 2 million followers and is constantly rocking different outfits and promoting different products across her page like you would see in a typical influencer. A more recent example that you may not be familiar is Lil Miquela, who was created by Brud, and she has over 3 million followers and has starred with fashion heavyweights such as Prada and Calvin Klein. Like, if that isn't a proper influencer, I don't know what is. So I guess the real question is, why would brands choose to use a virtual influencer over a human influencer? I think first of all, and most importantly, it's about controlling a message. Now, human influencers will work with multiple different brands, and sometimes those brands may contradict each other's values, or they might be a direct competitor. We have also seen quite a few circumstances where influencers have had incidences where they can reflect badly onto brands. Now, brands then end up separating themselves away from the creator, and it's neither good for the influencer nor for the brand. And more times than not, this isn't to do with current events. This typically tends to be when something is brought up about the creator's past that kind of goes viral on Twitter, let's say, or on Instagram, and basically it blows up the whole campaigns, and brands just stop wanting to work with influencers that are going to have negative PR. To coincide with controlling a message, brands have more creative freedom with a virtual influencer, and they can curate a backstory or whatever they want to fit their brief and to get their message across to the consumer. These stories often, develop and continue with the life cycle of the brand that kind of marries up with that influencer as well. So you get a lot of buy-in from the consumer that's looking to buy products because they become fully immersed within the story. There's also, little limits that you can actually achieve with a virtual influencer. Remember, these are typically animated or computer-generated images. So, the wildest campaigns that you can imagine, you can create. So whereas with humans, where you have limitations on what can and cannot be achieved, virtual influencers, they've got you covered. So I guess we can just sack off human influencers and just go straight to virtual ones. These guys seem like a marketer's absolute dream. Well, not exactly. We're still very early doors in virtual reality and the adoption of virtual influencers. So brands are very cautious about making their customers feel uncomfortable by displaying this new form of marketing tactic. I mean, when researching this vlog, I actually threw out some messages to people in my friendship group, creators, and also some brands to get their initial reaction on virtual influencers. And I mean, this was the response. Even after adoption has happened, and for me, I do truly believe that adoption of virtual influencers will happen, you still have to make the influencer feel authentic. And that's something that you can struggle with a computer generated image. People buy from people, not animated characters per se. A study done by NCR found that 41% of people felt almost betrayed when they found out the influencer was artificial. I mean, these influencers genuinely look real. And then 50% of the people wanted to know who are the creators behind this graphic. As the adaptation of new technology happens, this issue is going to become more apparent. Just like how brands can detach themselves or push themselves away from human influencers due to kind of controversy or things that have been dug up in their past, the same can be applied to virtual influencers. If the product or service loses authenticity, this is not good for the brand's sales. There are also other issues that could prove to be very costly. Things around copyright and trademark, along with the intellectual property of said virtual influencer, is a bit of a minefield and is yet to be undiscovered. But, marketers looking to get involved in this space, they're going to want to know the ins and outs of kind of who has ownership and, what could potentially happen. So let's look at examples of virtual influencers working with household names. So in Southeast Asia, we had Puma collaborate with Maya to promote their Future Rider sneaker in 2020. The leading skincare brand SK-II partnered with Soul Machine to create their first ever fully animated influencer called Yummy. And then for their Spring-Summer 2021 collection, fashion royalty Prada dressed Candy head to toe in Prada gear, including the little triangle emblems on her ears. So who are the hottest creators emerging from this space? Well, according to Influencer Marketing Hub, these are the top 5 influencers that you're going to want to follow in 2022 in the virtual influencer space. So we've got Lodu Magalu, Lil Miquela, Barbie, Guigamon, and Knox Frost. So I'm going to give my take on things. And for me, digitally created influencers will become a thing. In the NFT space, we're already seeing this happen with brands like Adidas, buying a Bored Ape and announcing its partnership. Now, for me, this doesn't replace human influencers. And I'm going to revert back to something I said earlier about people buying from people. Now, this actually falls quite nicely on a vlog that I did a while back about the quality of the content that you're producing and how this is what's going to make you stand out amongst the rest. And, now with virtual influencers is going to mean that you're still relevant within the influencer marketing space. Being an influencer or a content creator is very popular at the moment. Whether this is a full-time job or a side hustle, this economy is growing rapidly. Influencers have traditionally got reach based on faces. Now, if you take the face away from the creator, what are you left with? If the content that they're creating is shit, then brands just are going to stop working with them full stop. Good quality content creators are really emerging at the moment and they're getting noticed by brands. Most of the time, these creators have very little following, which can result in pretty much no reach, but the brands don't care. If these creators are using, a variety of faces and creating good quality content, the brand can pay for the reach. So therefore, the brand are prioritizing how good that content is over the likelihood of getting eyeballs on it. We discussed this in the last episode, how Instagram are trying to push marketers back to paying for sponsored advertisement. And we're seeing this even more complement this style of creation. Brands can have cheaper content creators because they're not paying for the faces to create good quality content and then just buy that reach. So leading human creators have already clocked this. They know exactly where the market's going. I mean, look at a movie, for example. Yes, a movie might have an Oscar-winning actor, but we also need a producer, a director, cinematography. All of this is filtering down into the user-generated content space. Just like in the movies, creators are building teams around them so that everybody can prosper from making good quality content. Now, some of you may be thinking that, yes, this is great, but the idea behind user-generated content is that it isn't like overly produced, like an advertisement, for example. Now, as consumers, this is correct. We want the content to be authentic. However, more than anything, we want to be entertained. We want to be engaged. So these are the people that are doing so well in this space because they're keeping their audience engaged with the material that they're posting on their socials. So to summarize, I think we'll see a massive shift in the way that brands choose to promote across socials. The unicorns will be the creators that can produce fantastic quality content, but also get that authentic reach. Regardless of this though, the digital creator economy will grow. Whether this is human influencers or virtual influencers, together this market is going to expand like we've never seen before. The people that will get left behind are the influencers that don't align themselves with brands and somewhat neglect the content that they produce. Substance and quality will be the winner of the coming years, so make sure that you're on board. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Catch you next time.